Alright, so what is up guys? In this session we'll be understanding what is Instance.new function. So I've written three questions here. What are Instance.new? How do we use them and where do we use them? So basically manually if we were to create a pod inside of the workspace, we would be clicking this plus sign, searching for pod and then clicking on that. So if you were to add a pod or any sort of instance through a script, then we use the Instance.new function. So as you know that if you're creating a user-defined function, let's say local. Alright, so here I've made a small local user-defined function here called sum. I'll be using arguments for passing the values to the parameters. So in Roblox Studio, there are certain functions which are already called or they created in the app, like in this whole Roblox Studio application. So there are certain functions. One of the functions is called Instance.new. So when we are creating a new pod, let's say local, no need variable for now. So if you were to create a pod inside of the workspace, we would just use instance.new and brackets. So whatever we put inside of this brackets, those are called arguments, since we are passing the values of the arguments to the parameters, and the parameters is a function called instance.new. So this instance.new is already there in the Roblox Studio. We are just accessing it and calling the function called instance.new. So the data we put is called arguments. Don't get confused between arguments and parameters. So this instance.new has two arguments. The first one is the type of instance that you want to put. So if you were to click on this plus sign, we can see a lot of instances. Some of them are pod, script, folder, tool, spawn location, box handle, adornment, whatever it's called, and so on. So if you were to put a pod, I'll just type pod here with a colon, colons, followed by a comma. And after the comma, the second argument is the location that we want the instance to be in. So here I want it to be in the workspace. So I'll be typing workspace. And if I were to run this, it will say pod is in the workspace. The reason why pod is not visible in the workspace is because by default, the pod has a location 0, 0, 0. So that location is here. It's inside of the base spawn location. So it's right here. So let's say I want to modify the details of this pod which I've created from the script. So in order to do that, I'll be storing this whole function inside of a variable called pod, followed by an equal to sign. So as you know, in my previous videos, I've explained what is return keyword and what return and break does. So kindly watch that if you don't know what is return keyword. So if you were to call this function, it returns the instance that we have already cloned. So since it's returning the instance that we have cloned, here it's a pod, we can store that instance or the returned pod inside of another variable called pod. So this pod holds the data of the newly created pod. So if I were to change the position of the pod, let's say position equals to vector3 dot new, let's say 10, 10, 10. And if I were to run this, it will spawn it in 10, 10, 10. Just click on this, and as you can see here, position is 10.003, 0.582, 9.998. So I have a small assignment or some kind of a homework for you guys to actually tell me why is the position this, why is the position 10.003, 0.582, 9.98, when in the script I've put the values as 10, 10, 10. So the position is supposed to be 10, 10, 10, right? So why is it not 10, 10 and whatsoever? So that's your homework. Kindly comment down if you know the answer. We can even use it for creating a folder, and it will create a folder inside the workspace, and we can store some pods or whatsoever inside of this folder, and I can change the variable to call folder. Let's say I want to create 10 pods without using the instance.new 10 times. I just want to use this line one time, and I want to create 10 pods inside of the workspace. In order to do that, if you guys have watched the for loop video, then you might be understanding the method or the logic behind this question which I've said. So here I'll be using for loop for I equals to 1. So by default, the for loop increases or increments by 1. We can even type 1, but no need, because by default it's 1 plus 1. So if I were to run this, it creates 10 pods inside my workspace. All right, so summarizing what we have learned today in this session, what are instance.new functions? They are the functions which are used for creating a new instance instead of a known location. So the second argument, as I've told you, is the location where you want to create the instance into. Second question is, how do we use them? We use it using instance.new followed by a bracket, and it has two arguments: the name of the instance that you want to create, and then followed by the location that you want to put the instance into. Where do we use instance.new function? The reason why I've written where is because instance.new function, it matters if you're creating in the script or if you're creating in the local script. So if you're creating in the local script, the instance will be only seen to the player that you have put this local script into. So let's say I put this local script instead of this, let's say character scripts. So by the way, local scripts are only in starter player, starter character scripts, and starter player scripts. They can't be anywhere else. It can be in the starter GUI or the starter pack, depending if it's in the screen GUI or the tool. But you don't have to know about that for now. So the thing is that instance.new, if you're creating in the local script, it'll be seen only for that one specific player, and it won't be seen to every single player. So if you want every single player in your game to see that part or the instance that you've created, you have to use the script. But if you want only one specific person, then you can use local script. That's basically it about instance.new function. If you guys have any doubts or queries or whatsoever, you guys can comment down. And till then, stay safe. Bye bye.